want your opinion, I'll beat it out of you.
Draven out.
I won't be denied.
Seriously? Seriously?
Lame.
People fear what they cannot understand.
I want a turn.
I shall endure.
They're starting in the top side, so they're going to be pathing down, trying to give some early presence, most likely down to this bot lane, and maybe we'll end up seeing some early 3v3 action here. Definitely, this bot lane could be a path to victory for both of these teams going forward.
Yeah, bot lane is a pretty good win condition right now. In the ban phase, we saw red side take 3 bans right away to jungle, so that might be a very potent way they're going to be trying to win this game with Hydralisk on J4.
For sure, and we also see Zac here swapping out for an early sweeper, so trying to get some of this bot lane bush control, definitely going to be a valuable tool in facilitating these engages that they want to be finding.
Yeah, they're going to have a lot of it engage with Apex on Maokai, Apex parry on Zaya with some good follow-up, and with Spy on Zac, and some good disengage as well.
Yeah, and another interesting point here, looking at the starting items, we do also have Wonder Z on the Maokai here, opting to start with the Scorch Claw. And this is not something you tend to see all that often, is sticking with the Phase Rush, so potentially going for less of a full pokey kind of first strike sapling build or something along those lines. But we'll see if this extra damage ends up coming into play at any of these dragon fights. It could definitely offer a bit more poke, but already an engage here in the bot lane. Apex Spy going in pretty hard and getting a pull in, but Gaudiero trading back very heavily, very nearly popping that Zac passive. This combination of the Blitzcrank all in paired with the MFPTA giving so much damage early here on the bot lane.
Yeah, Gadriel is going to be kind of a lane bully with how the love tap passive works on this force and getting a lot of good trades early on. And Zaya does not like being bullied.
Yeah, absolutely not. And with some of the range extension there too, with the double up, can offer some great trading opportunities. And it does seem like Apex Spy could have a bit of a trouble here early on in this lane, even if you do end up getting the engage. I mean, we saw this double Q knockup coming through, but with the Blitzcrank knockup being more or less a guarantee, it'll be a lot of damage traded back. And we see both junglers already heading in here. Hydralisk is going to miss the EQ based on Apex Spy's flash reaction. Now it's Hydralisk looking to get taken down, but just not enough damage coming out from Apex parry this early in the game. It is going to be the Zac passive taken out though, and a flash blown from this Zac. So overall advantage still going out over to Unleashed here.
Yeah, and at least getting an early lead is certainly going to help. You know, the early game kind of helped the tempo to the mid and late game, which is really going to help secure the game.
Absolutely, and apologies here as I'm having a bit of trouble here with the stream. It might take me just a moment to get situated back in. All right, seems to be working again for me. And yeah, some heavy trading going on in this bot lane too. Dunk running pretty low on resources, but now we see a roam coming out mid for Apex Spy. Does miss that elastic stretching shot, so will not get the pull here for Colin B, but will help Vongola here get the push in, get an early reset here on the Victor, having expended most of his mono. Be a nice space timing, pick up some early items to get back into the lane.
Yeah, the mana advantage in a caster lane with all your mages is really important here. And he's not going to be as punished here with the TP, being that Colin B had to TP earlier. He's able to kind of mitigate any sort of TP advantage that was given already. And he's not going to be losing any farm. And Victor really does like his farm being helps unlock some of his later abilities, getting some of that extra damage in there and scaling.
Yeah, Hydralisk now looking into the top lane, trying to aggress onto Dunk. EQ is going to miss, so no combo to be found with Melendez, but does offer a pretty healthy chunk of HP here. Meanwhile, on the bot lane, both sides going at it right back against support, getting traded back very heavily on the Zaya. And here comes Wonder Z looking to go for the gank. The flash twisted advance is good, but Melendez gets the heroic charge right out of the minion, so the flash is going to be blown for nothing there. Great disengage with the Poppy.
Yeah, Poppy has some pretty good disengage. Try and push you up against the wall. The lane management here, trying to be able to stay safe in tower is kind of important here, being able to push here, but we might be seeing a dive here instead.
Yeah, Mongola roaming up as well, and with the cannon barrage as well committed, it's going to be an easy takedown there onto Hydralisk. The mid laner roaming up. Colin B unable to trade back for any plates there with Apex Spy covering in the mid lane. So it's just a great roam by Mongola here, maybe looking for even a little bit more, but no, he's instead just going to take a few tower shots. Melendez does get the base off, but does lose this entire wave to the tower and a plate as well. A big advantage here coming onto Apex team off the back of a great mid roam. Now Hydralisk looking back to go for the red buff. Wonder Z very low. Does secure the red buff with the flag and drag, but is only level 5. Cataclysm not available. So that does mean that Maokai is likely to get away here. Colin B is rejoining. There does have a 1 level advantage onto the Victor, but it looks like it is just a jungler 1v1. Maokai with the smash is going to disengage briefly with Hydralisk. Mongola now going to try and help out. The ultimate not available, so both junglers likely to just find their own ways out. Hydralisk may be trying to look for a little bit more here in the top side. The buff is spawned, as are the wolves, but Dunk is here to try and cover as well. Will force Hydralisk back away, but now a great grab coming here on the bottom lane. The Zac E is going to be flashed away from for Godero, so just a flash extended for not much of a play in response. A good look from Apex Spy.
Yeah, certainly a good look. We're seeing a lot of the wave management here being a result in some of these roams and plays that we've been able to see, or even just some of the trades, some very disciplined to play, knowing when to push, when to pull back, which side's strong, which side's weak, and able to get some of these rotations on the side of Apex has been resulting in them getting 2 kills and already being at 1,000 gold lead right here. We'll have to see if this can provide them with some extra kind of tempo to push for possibly an objective and get some extra pressure on the enemy team, probably set up a win con or make what they already have even stronger at this point in the game.
Yeah, and this gold lead is largely coming off of the back of Vongola getting that first blood right early in the game and then finding that great roam timing up top, picking up the kill, denying that wave, getting the play onto this top lane, allowing the GP to start scaling. These are two solo laners that are not necessarily known for their early game prowess. GP and Victor, both champions, happy to scale up into late game monsters, but right now with this advantage they're able to secure on this early in the game, they're going to be sitting very happy.
Yeah, certainly. Whenever you're on the scaling side and you have a nice early lead, that's always good because it's going to be your weakest point in the game. Once the drunk hits level 13, these barrel combos can start to pop off and doing a lot of damage under the enemy team. And of course, Apex Carry is going to be scaling pretty good on Zaya, and Mongolia Sam on Victor is going to be scaling pretty hard as well. Godry is not going to be scaling as hard.
Yeah, Vongola does still have the flash available, but was not able to flash the combo there. A nice shutdown, 450 gold, going back over to Hydralisk off a great mid-roam timing, is also going to push Wonder Z off of the Herald here. Both supports are making their way over to the play as well. Colin B perilously low on mana, so will not be able to contribute to this fight all that much. Apex Spy is able to get the Elastic Slingshot away from the fight there. Apex Parry and Gaudero fighting each other in this bottom lane. It is going to be the Cannon Barrage expended, and the lethal tempo advantage is going to give Parry the kill there, burning the heal even from Gaudero as well, but the global is too strong. Another kill going over to Apex.
Yeah, very well played. The global ultimates coming in here, slowing them down, just enough damage to eke out a kill onto the bot lane. And that's kind of what you want to be seeing here as the scaling team, like I said before.
Oh. Yeah, another gank coming out into this mid lane. The skill shots, unfortunately, are not going to land, so Colin P is safe for the moment being, but there comes the Nature Grasp flashing, forcing the flash out from Colin B already, and that is all they're going to get. But meanwhile, in the top lane, Dunk just flashes under tower to secure the cure onto Walindus, and we see the power that this GP advantage is able to find. Already a lot of farm up on this Poppy, and these barrels and parlays are absolutely chunking out and bullying this melee counterpart, and we might see this lead just continue to grow. Now, Hydralisk wants to contest Wonder Z on this Herald, but with the top laner down, it's going to be very difficult. Mongola now going to try and find the kill maybe in return, but a nice flag and drag is going to keep him safe, but that probably does mean the Herald is going to go over for free to Apex.
Yeah, first Herald with plating still up at this point can be a lot of gold, especially on your scaler if it ends up going top lane. Maybe they'll try and take some early plates there, or they might be trying to go for mid lane, maybe make it safer for some of these people to farm. It's going to be harder to tell which one they want because once the first towers are kind of broken, the enemy can farm a little bit safer and they're a little bit harder to punish, being the wave is going to be so much closer towards their nexus and away from yours.
Absolutely. Unleash just trying to trade back here for the dragon, but a nice two-man knock-up from Spy is going to come through, and there goes the CC chain. Support and Gaudiero are going to go down near instantly. No, Support actually does manage to find the flash, but the flash laser in response from Mongola is going to pick it up 2 kills in exchange for the dragon. A nice collapse coming in, but the dragon does go over to Unleashed.
Yeah, an early dragon certainly is helpful, but there's been a lot of flashes down.
Yeah, certainly a lot of flashes expended, and Dunk here continuing to bully in this top lane. Look at the crits coming through. Crit barrel, crit parlay is just going to demolish this Poppy's health. No hope of survival there. The ultimate attempted to be used for disengage, but just burning down from the GP passive here. Now several level lead over this Poppy. A significant farm lead, several solo kills in advantage as well. This GP is going to start scaling into a very big problem for Unleashed.
Yeah, this GP is going to be a pretty big problem. Already has a Reaver and a double cloak. That's a lot of crit chance to be able to burst down a lot of targets. And once you still, oh,
Yeah, Apex Spy getting found out here in the mid lane is not going to be able to find the E for the disengage. Mongola is here, but no Chaos Storm available. It is going to be the Cannon Barrage offered in support from top lane, but the Zac blobs are going to go down. So at least a little bit of gold going back into the pockets of Colin B. But now Gaudiero is caught out here alone. The Nature's Grasp is going to start making its way across. Is Gaudiero going to find their way out? No, the pull from Perry is good. Secures the kill there onto Xayah. So a trade right back in the bottom lane after the support Zac was found in the mid.
yeah, the number advantage, playing mid, trying to get more into the board, more gold, try and get some picks here. The enemy team right here, Moonlight, is going to be able to pick, and this is going to be the first tower as Rift Herald takes 2 plates roughly worth of damage, which is just going to be more onto some of these carries. This is a lot of gold. We're sitting at 25K versus 19.3. So we're already seeing close to a 5K gold lead.
Yeah, and at just 13, 14 minutes in the game, that is very significant. Now, tower plates are going to fall down, but in this amount of time, GPS managed to pick up 3 plates, 2 kills, nearly doubling the farm of the Poppy already. So this top lane is continuing to be a dire situation. Mid lane is holding a little bit more steady. The 3 kills on the Victor, the Mythic already completed, is still accelerating this champion quite a bit. And the Xayah also finding the advantage onto that MF. Ever since that very close engagement on the bot lane, the rest of the fights have been going Perry's way.
Yeah, for sure. Like once you get out of the landing phase as Xayah, you're able to do a lot more scaling and a lot more damage. Those first items are a pretty big spike. And of course, Godrio is going to be the strongest on Misfortune in the laning phase. And now that it's over with these towers being down and 14 minutes being hit, this advantage is only going to improve further on the side of blue.
Yeah, and I would really like to see Unleashed try and find some team roams, use numbers advantage to get some picks like they might be finding here right onto Spy. Cullen B is going to dodge that slingshot, and the rest of the team here is ready to support. Perry's going to maybe try and trade a little bit of damage back, but it is 4 members against 2 here. The rest of Apex not able to find reinforcement here. A flash Featherstorm there is going to try and get Perry out. A Gale Force as well, but a nice hook from support is going to give the shutdown back to Gaudiero. That was a great roam play. That's exactly the kind of movement we need to see from this team to give them a chance of coming back.
Yeah, whenever you're in a goal deficit, numbers can help mitigate that. And while the goal deficit isn't super large right now, you're going to be able to use that, get some picks, and get some gold into the carries that you're going to want. Colin B is sitting here at 2 kills already and still being fairly even in farm versus Volga Fam. And if you're able to get some of these objective bounties as well with this bot turret, or possibly maybe another dragon as well to try and set yourself up, that can help you get back into this game on the side of Unleashed.
Yeah, Cannon Barrage expended to save this bot tower is going to buy enough time. One more wave coming in, but Perry is ready to come here reinforce, and both teams are going to be looking at this dragon soon. It was a lot of resources expended by both sides in that previous fight. Perry using all their summoner spells, the Gale Force, and the ultimate to try and survive was ultimately unsuccessful. On the other side, it was the Shockwave and the Cataclysm committed, but some of these ultimates are coming up rather quickly, and this is Unleashed key to victory. You have 3 losing lanes and a team comp that gets outscaled, but you have a very powerful team fighting ultimates that combo really well together. These places at this dragon, without the Cannon Barrage, without the Xayah safety, these are maybe going to be the chance for you to come back. So we'll see if this dragon fight bears any fruit for Unleashed, or if it is going to be another definitive advantage going over to Apex. Both teams are setting up now.
Yeah. Being able to pull over the wall, might be able to get some of the numbers, pull out a carry, bursting down, might be what they need. And not to mention, they have a decent amount of poke on pulling these Oriana, and Misfortune has a little bit of poke as well in zoning potential with the slow and the E. And fighting the jungle is what you want to be doing as Poppy.
Yeah, and there goes the engaged spy jumping in Nature's Grasp as well. Pull does go out onto the Xayah, who is going to get one shot, but the J4 is traded right in response. But now Vongola is being aggressed and heavily on the backline. Valinda's trying to find one more auto to finish off this. Victor is able to find it, and now Doug, this huge GP, does one shot the Valinda's there on Perry, but Colin B is chasing right back, trying to find a little bit more. But look at that damage the barrel is going to be flashed away from, but that's just going to give Wonder Z a free kill. Colin B very nearly able to find the trade onto GP, but ultimately unsuccessful. Godero now trying to chase. GP must be low on barrels at this point, but is fast enough to just disengage. The dragon was ultimately secured by Apex. The kills were rather even, but a few shutdowns going over. That was not a bad team fight given the current state of the game.
Yeah, whatever you think. Oh, perhaps I'm spoken too soon.
Yeah, Godero eating a barrel combo there with the Cannon Barrage is certainly going to get run down. Does manage to live with the Flash and with the Misfortune Struck, giving so much move speed there, but a big resource expended, and that's going to make Apex just turn directly here onto the second Herald.
Yeah, spending a lot of resources in that dragon fight might make taking this.
Yeah, hold that thought as it's a great hook onto Perry, but the Featherstorm is going to try and disengage and a root right back onto Valentis, who is going to melt to that barrel combo, and Wonder Z is going to get the twisted advance onto Hydralisk over the wall, interrupting the EQ with the Zac jump, so that's going to be Perry picking up a double kill there. A really difficult contest for a look from Unleashed without their ADC, and with a numbers disadvantage, decide to go for it and does get decisively punished.
Yeah, both teams having to dump a lot of damage into objectives, and that helped kind of mitigate some of this gold disadvantage that we might be seeing on the side of Unleashed. But once all of your resources are committed, trying to go into that second fight for another objective means you're not going to have the damage, and they're going to be able to get it. And it looks like we're 1-for-1 in Dragon as well here. That early game really trying to set some of the pacing in this mid-game here.
Yeah, and in this mid game, we are seeing already a 9,000 gold advantage coming out at 19 minutes. We usually say a stomp is around 500 gold advantage per minute, and we are right on pace. Apex here definitely flexing a little bit in this first game.
Yeah, certainly an advantage at that pace is kind of becoming a little bit of a comp, but they might be able to pull this out if they're able to get some of these numbers advantages here, or they might be trying to think about, well, hey, we aren't doing so well in this game. How are we going to be able to do this? What are the issues? How are we going to take advantage of some of these displays that we've been able to get some of these kills off of, and how are we going to readjust into some of these next following games?
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of this advantage was found partially through some individual misplays through decision making, and partly just from the better map movements that Apex has displayed so far up to this point in the game. Now, Baron is available for the taking. All the outers are down, so the next targets in Apex's eyes are going to be these inner turrets and the Baron. If they are able to secure this big objective, it could be a rapid push towards the end, but we'll see if they do end up setting up for it. Support with a hook onto Wonder Z. Hydralisk there with the follow-up CC. Nature's Grasp is expended, but not enough disengage. A kill does go over to Caldero with Jungler down. That is certainly going to take Baron off the table. We'll see if they can convert that into anything more. Ping towards the top lane, but Dunk does suss it out immediately, starts walking back to his own tower for safety.
Yeah, Trop is a really good hook there, able to set up, of course.
Yeah, Colin B getting jumped on here in the mid lane though, and that's just a very free pickup. So much CC coming in from the Zac and so much damage to follow from the Zaya already on 2 items, 7-2 and 2 very strong on this 80 carry. We already see second items in the case of Dunk there in the top lane, nearly a third item coming out for the members of Apex, and that pick on the mid lane is going to cause them to call for the Baron already. Maokai running in from base, Hydralisk soon to follow, but with them taking so much damage from that objective, are going to call the disengage instead. Looking briefly in the direction of Goldiro, not going to find anything meaningful just yet, though. 3 members on each side. A heavy barrel landing onto this Misfortune. Second barrel not to be found. The Cataclysm is going to be extended right away, as is the bullet time, and that's going to be Dunk going down. Apex by with the great counter engage, though, and Goldiro is going to go down. Parry is going to survive just barely by the skin of their teeth, and now it is support getting engaged on Spy, and Wonder Z chasing here, but Colin B is in there in the back, ready to offer some more assistance. Wonder Z with the Nature's Grasp going out, but not enough to finish off. Just going to toss a sapling there to end the fight. Meanwhile, Vongola getting a lot of free time there in the mid lane, so those kills do come with a cost. Trades 1 for 2 in favor of Apex and a tower taken. Now Herald also dropped here in the mid lane. Members swapping for Dragon. Advantage still decisively in Apex's favor.
Yeah, Apex has a lot of good wave clear with Gangplank and Victor, and Zaya as well is pretty good. So they're able to kind of set up these waves, slow push them into these turrets together. And as Unleashed, you kind of have to answer that. Otherwise, you're going to be bleeding more gold, and risking an objective at this deficit is too risky to do. So they're slowly going to be pushed out of this game should they not find some angles and possibly pick off some of these carries with Tropics.
Yeah, Unleashed playing for Baron control, and another great hook onto Dunk, and a silence is going to very nearly take him down. One more crit from Gaudiro is going to mean the kill. Vongola is there on the bottom lane, does have TP available though to join in on this fight. So Unleashed are banking a lot on this Baron play working. TP coming in from Victor already, Nature's Grasp available, Zac engage follow-up available as well. Will Unleashed be able to get away with this? There comes the Dak jump, expertly blocked by the Poppy there, good from Valendas. Now a lot of damage going onto Wonder Z. Bullet time is out, but is not going to hit anyone. Parry is godlike, taking down Colin B initially, and another Feather Root is going to blow up the rest of the team. The engage from Spy and Wonder Z are good. Apex turning the fight right around and is going to pick up this Baron for free.
Yeah, the vision lineup here enabling some of these flanks we saw from the Apex Spy support, followed up, of course, wonderfully set up by Apex Wonder Z, and the Baron Shred kind of makes your resistances go away here. And when the enemy team is able to pump in so much damage to you already, you kind of need those resistances. And with Baron at this point, these waves are going to be pushing in fast and hard.
Yeah, and that might just end up being the final nail in the coffin for Unleashed. They were in a difficult position there. They found a great pick onto Dunk, one of the strongest members on Apex's team, someone that had been terrorizing them throughout this game. They thought 4v5 here at Baron, this is our best chance, let's start it up. But with the Zac, with the Maokai, with the disgusting amounts of damage that Zaya can pump out there, it was just such a hard take. Apex patiently waited, let Baron shred those resistances, shred those HP, and turn that into a successful fight. Now Dunk trying to get away, does dodge the rocket grab from Blitzcrank, so would have been likely his life cost there had that one landed, but instead it is Apex still committing to this push. 4 members here pushing towards the mid lane support, caught out a little bit on the flank, forced to disengage, tower in their eyes.
Yeah, it was a good idea to try and maybe go for this Baron, try and catch it out with Drunk being down already, but it was not enough. They didn't have quite the damage to be able to take it fast enough. It was a good attempt for them to try to come back into this game on the side of Unleashed. And it looks like a lot of these waves are just going to be crashing. They're going to be doing a slow push, trying to deny any of these waves from crashing in too soon, and really trying to punish out the Unleashed.
And yeah, now attention is going to the top lane. Blitzcrank with another great grab. Now Wonder Z Zoniazing and does manage to go down there at the end, but it is Hydralisk traded back there with the damage from Parry. The tower will stand for the time being. Next wave is a little bit ways away. Members on Unleashed resetting there. Does look like they will give up the inner tower there. Maybe try and hold at inhib instead.
Yeah, an eye for an eye, a jungler for a jungler. and it looks like a tower's gonna be following this up as well, as the great proverbs have always said.
Yeah, and these grabs have been good. They have been enabling picks, but now, speaking of picks, there is Colin B getting picked up by these barrel combos. A nice Prowler's Claw that just absolutely guarantee the kill there. No hope for the mid laner against this GP. Level 16, 3 levels up on the lane opponent and on most members of Unleashed is so hard to deal with in the side lane. And yeah, these picks, they are the best hope that they have in the game, but Apex have so much damage in response, such a gold lead, 14, 15,000 here at this point in the game, that they can pretty much just win fights with the sheer power of their income here. Now, another dragon soon to spawn. It would be Soul Point, but I think more than Soul Point is in the eyes of Apex here. They're just looking to find the end to the game. They are going to diligently set up, though. GP sent over to continue their push in the side lane. TP available. Most of the members of Unleashed committed here for the objective. One of the final fights, potentially, of the game about to take place.
Yeah, and Volga is coming here with a death cap. That's going to be a lot of damage to pump out. And don't forget about some of these TPs. We're going to see some counterplay coming in with those pushes, or if we're going to try and just end the game here with this one last team fight.
Yeah, and it looks like Apex is just committing directly to the push instead, uninterested in the dragon, going to walk away. Sure, we have Spy getting caught out in the mid lane here, but he's stalling for 3 members as the rest of the team is going to continue to find the push. Zach Blobs are going down, is going to go down to Gardero there, but Nature's Grasp will find Hydralisk, is immediately melted. The rest of the bullet time is dodged away from TP coming in from Dunk, is going to try and Prowler's Claw in and does find the trade onto Blitzcrank Cannon Barrage, doing so much zoning potential here, and it is going to leave Valendis to just fall there on the side. Colin B and Gardero trying to survive, but the Victor Laser is good, the Q is good, and one more auto there on Gardero is going to make them fall. On the other side, a triple kill going over to parry a ace there for Apex, and this has got to be the final push for the game.
Yeah, it's got to be the final push at this point. Baron buff is down, so that's not going to be helping them at all. But with 10 seconds up on Troppus, they're still not going to be able to stop. And Hydros being up in 4, and that's going to mean a lot of input is going to be down, and possibly a final push into the bot in Tampa right after this Drake upcoming. Just trying to make sure they get that extra gold. No breathing room in this time of Unleashed. And just really disciplined play we're seeing on both sides.
Yeah, it looks like with 2 members spawning, the finish is going to be called off, going to pick up this free dragon instead, be satisfied with 2 inhibitors and the Drake here. Gold lead ballooning over to 16, 17,000 at this point. Going to take a reset, spend some of their hard-earned gold. We're going to see 4 items being hit by many of these carry here. 4 items on the Xayah and on the GP here. 3 on the Victor. On the opposing side, we do have Gardero with 3 completed items, so perhaps the best hope they have of trading in some damage, maybe with a couple of hooks when the rest of the team is not entirely assembled. They can get some more picks, but it is a tall order.
Yeah, 3 items on any carry is a pretty devastating power spike. They're able to pump out a lot of damage.
Yeah, also devastating is this cannon barrage going on to Colin B, and Spy is here ready to assist, cutting off any hope of escape. The Zonius is going to come out, and the rest of the team is there, but look at that barrel. Absolutely disgusting. The rocket grab is good, though, but Dunk does find an escape onto the side, even gets the Blitzcrank in trade in response, and Spy is here distracting as the rest of the team is making their way, but Wonder Z is getting cut down by the damage of Gardero here. Parry on the side, maybe looking for a bit of a trade, gets the Gale Force in and does find the finish. The Feather Storm is available there, and the rest of the damage is just not going to be all that much. With the Bloodthirster on this carry as well is maybe going to find the fight, does get the double kill onto the Poppy there and finds the triple kill there on the Hydralisk. Another ace coming in. The shutdown is traded, but Mongola is getting a free pass for the push into the base. Colin B up in 2, support up in 3. Will they be able to hold the power of this Victor? Victor looking maybe to disengage, maybe to fight. Support coming in, starting off the CC chain. Colin B Shockwave is available here, does commit it. Mongola trying to trade back as much damage as possible, but is going to fall there. Open Nexus, but some gold going over to Unleashed.
Yeah, that barrel doing 1,554 damage with astounding bursting down a lot of these champions. A lot of extended fights here. Looks like Tropis is trying to make sure this inhibitor stays alive. Just barely a minion slaying him there. It's not very often you end up getting to see that. Get your bingo cards ready for some excellent plays when we're seeing here.
Yeah, and those were not super minions either, just trying to tank those regular ones for as long as possible. And with no map control left here for Unleashed, it's going to be the Baron started up by Apex, absolutely melting here to just these two characters. Smite is going to go over to Wonder Z, going to secure that big purple objective. Two inhibitors down, open Nexus. Vongola spawning in for, they're going to assemble once again for this Baron enhanced push support. Will at least be back up for the defense. So the inhibitor hold was successful at the cost of his life, but not too much traded in response for it. Unleashed prepping for their last stand in the race.
Yeah, with no towers to help defend them, other than, of course, the Fountain Tower, it's going to be difficult for them to do it. Usually, you can try and use those towers and leverage them, heal back at your Fountain to try and leverage some health in some of these fights. Should they not burst you down, which might not be the case here. With all of the damage we're seeing, with like level 18 Gangplank Undrunk, and with Volga being basically full build here, they're just a little bit short. At this point, with how much damage they have, it's going to feel like it's full.
Yeah, Zonia is available on a few people to support, committing the flash to get the shutdown onto Dunk to start out the fight. Apex Spy getting a little bit low, but regenerating a lot of health with the blobs is going to get traded back on by the Misfortune very nearly, but instead it's Hydralisk going down on the backside. Spy able to pick up one or two more blobs to stay alive. Colin B trying to find some more damage there. Flash Twisted Advance going down onto Godero. Wonder Z going into Zonia's. Poppy looking for the stun against the wall, but the Maokai is just going to go down immediately. Support maybe looking for one more hook, but Perry just has the Nexus in their eyes. Can they stop the Zaya? Yes, the Poppy knockback is going to make that a successful hold for the moment, being Walendis trying to ward against the Baron. The Zac is going to go down, and the Misfortune is doing as much damage as possible, trading onto Vongola, but Vongola does find the rest of the damage. The Featherstorm comes out, and one more auto onto the Nexus. Perry secures the game, a dominating, very, very convincing first game coming out from Apex.
Yeah, Apex played that pretty well, and we have to give it to Unleashed as well. They played that very well. They fought till the bitter end, trying to get every advantage back that they could, trying to set stuff up. We'll have to see what their game plan is for game two. If we're going to be seeing possibly a Gangplank ban or a Victor ban in here, or we'll have to see what else they thought was causing some problems. Maybe they just needed to warm up and then be able to punch back harder in game two.
Yeah, Unleashed did have some moments that looked like it could be a little bit hopeful. In particular, this Blitzcrank pick did pay out their dividends, was able to find a lot of catches there in the mid game going in towards throughout the end of the game. But at one point, the gold advantage was just simply too much. After a great early game start by the members of Apex, it was just a really tough ask for Unleashed to try and find their way back.
go.
All right, welcome back to game two of Unleashed versus Apex. In game one, we saw Apex take a really rather dominating victory over Unleashed off of the back of some great individual and team play. We'll see if any adjustments end up being made here for the draft in the second game. We do have Unleashed taking the blue side this time around, so the teams will be swapping sides as the first bans start coming through.
Yeah, looks like more jungle bands on the side of Unleashed. They're gonna be blue side this game rather than red side. We'll have to see what they end up prio picking to try and leverage their advantage early on and try and stop some of that early tempo we saw in game one.
Yeah, we do have Zaya also already being taken off the table for this second game. We saw that piloted with expert finesse by Apex Perry in game one, and also just had so much value into that kind of team fight wombo combo comp that Unleashed was trying to run. The Blade Storm offering excellent disengage and fight turn potential, and just giving great DPS as well. Apex on the other side going to ban away the Blitzcrank from support there, one of his signature picks, and a pick that really gave a lot of success to Unleashed in that first game, also taking away Maokai as a B1 option, a very popular B1 choice at all levels of play here. And Unleashed is going to be locking in the Olaf as their first pick of choice.
Yeah, I believe Travis is a master's level Blitzcrank player, has a lot of games under there, so that ban comes to no surprise, as well as Maokai with how much of a prio pick here is here. And Olaf really doesn't care about the enemy CC. They're able just to walk in, deal a lot of damage, and really pick things through. And they can technically flex top lane, or they could be going jungle here. I'm going to be guessing we're going to be seeing Hydralisk on Olaf here, as that's kind of the style they're going for with last game with the Bruiser, and he's just able to disrupt so much and get a lot of farm and potentially get one of his lanes ahead.
Yeah, and Camille is going to be almost immediately taken as the R1 response here, almost certainly going to the top lane. And that's pretty bold, blind picking a solo lane already, unless they are very confident in the ability of this blind. And we did see the Apex top laner with excellent results in that previous game. So maybe they're just comfortable taking this into everything. Meanwhile, Ezreal is going to be taken as their R2 pick, a nice all around pick, can have great potential in the hands of the right pilot.
Yeah, Ezreal's very safe. They're able to get a lot of damage. They scale just like they were going to be doing last game. And when you have such a safe side, you're able to hover some of these earlier picks, like Camille here. It might be a little bit more dangerous as top lane tends to be the counter pick lane. So maybe if they can get some extra gold in there, they might be trying to be playing for like a 1-4 style, trying to get some extra leverage in there. We saw that happening a lot in game one on the side of Apex, trying to get some of that spush. We saw that late game victor take so many turrets, set up for all those inhibitors to be going down, and kind of close that game out and how well they were able to roam. So that might be the kind of game plan they're going for in game two.
Yeah, it does enable a lot of movement from the support to facilitate the rest of the map. But it is Sivir Annie picked up in response by Unleashed, and I really like this ADC matchup for Unleashed. Sivir able to pick up waves and get a lot of pushes going here in the bottom lane. Ezreal has a lot of strength, but strong wave clear is not one of them. So if they are going to be picking up waves at the tower, it can enable Sivir to have some timings or trade back a lot of plates. Annie here maybe not synergizing so well with Sivir in a traditional sense, who usually prefers more of those enchanter supports, but has been an up and coming support in the meta recently. Is J4 locked in for Apex, so offering some strong gank presence onto all areas of the map as the second phase of bans start coming through.
Yeah, Olaf's been able to Ragnarok through Jarvan's cage, so he's kind of stuck in there with him. Of course, being an angry boy, he can probably fight them just as well, but he's not going to be able to fight for his teammates out and appeal for them like you might have with a possible Zac leaping onto you like we saw in the last game.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like mid lane is going to be the target for many of these phase 2 bans. Victor taken out away from the hands of Apex. We definitely saw Mongolia use that to great effectiveness. Zoe and Syndra taken out in response. These are champions that Colin B has shown to be proficient in before. Syndra especially is another one of those really scary picks that just fulfills a nice all-around role in almost any team comp. Renata going to be taken away as a support possibility for Apex there. That ultimate certainly has a lot of turn potential as well. We're going to see what they end up rounding out their team comp with for both sides.
Yeah, Renata bailing out some of these diving champions is something that would be kind of nasty to be on the receiving end. And don't forget about Sivir's auto attacks, being able to bounce around with her W. And when Renata casts her ultimate, uh, you don't want to be giving her a little bit extra damage there with that. So it's certainly an understandable ban. And we'll see that Bard is going to be picked up here, trying to do some more plays. Olaf's going to be able to Ragnarok out of that, but securing some of these more carry central things that aren't going to be falling off quite as hard might be what they need. And don't forget, Bard is pretty good at roaming, which is what Apex was doing a lot. We saw a lot of mid lane roams.
Oh, absolutely. And we talked about earlier how Ezreal can enable this roam heavy gameplay, and Bard is certainly one of the premier supports at doing that. I really want to see what this Bard J4 combo can do with their movements around the map. But looks like I was wrong. It's not an Annie support. It is going to be instead a Leona support. Yumi hovered briefly there for a moment, certainly a pairing that historically has had really strong synergies with the Sivir and the Olaf champions that love move speed, love the attack speed and durability that champion offers. But after the most recent round of nerfs and with some buffs going into these engage type supports, looks like they think better of it, going to choose the Leona instead, maybe offering some dive pressure onto this Ezreal should he choose to stay in a 1v2, or maybe looking to match some of the roam potential moving on to other lanes with the Bard. Wukong and Ari respectively going to be taken on each side. Ari maybe more of a facilitating pick here, trying to get some more damage done for the team, offer some catch potential. Wukong just a all-around strong jungler offering good clears, good ganks, good team fighting setup.
Yeah, with Yumi kind of being Bob Barker there, the Leona pick certainly makes more sense, and it looks like they're going to be trying to utilize Wukong to trying to keep people balled up so that when Annie comes in and ults with her stun for 2 seconds at the max rank with her passive at level 16, that's going to be a lot of burst. And of course, with Sivir being able to do a lot of the boomerang bounces and with her Q being able to chunk through champions the way it is, keeping everyone grouped, especially with Leona, is going to be very potent to do. We'll have to see if the mobility in the side of Apex is going to be able to stop this. Jarvan being able to dash, Ezreal being able to dash out, and Ari being able to dash with a bunch of resets on her ultimate as well.
Yeah, it does look like Unleashed is investing pretty heavily back into this team fighting style of composition. Once again, something not too dissimilar to the type of gameplay they tried to make happen in that previous game, but they do have to be in a game state where they can actually make those team fights work out when they're not at too much of a gold deficit. Apex, meanwhile, you're right, they do have a lot of mobility. Ezreal, J4, Bard, Ari, Camille, these are all champions that can dash around the battlefield, so it can be rather difficult to catch them all in these kinds of multi-man ultimates you're hoping to see from the Annie, from the Wukong, and Leona. But we'll see if Unleashed is able to execute on their team comp a little more successfully in the second game, or whether Apex is going to be able to find the roaming presence and the movement around the map that enabled so much of their success in game one.
Yeah, we'll have to see that. One of the things we have to keep in mind here is that with Annie, you could just go with a shorter kind of lockdown with your Q, being it's point and click. You can't really dash out of it. You're just going to prolong the inevitable. So that might be what they need. It looks like one person mismatch is going to be re-jumping back into the ban phase here.
Yeah, absolutely. And my eyes are on this Annie pick as well. This is one of those champions that should it start get rolling, it can absolutely start deleting any sort of champion off the rift. And if we look at Apex's composition, all of these champions are pretty deletable. Maybe J4 invests in some durability at some point, but the rest are certainly very prone to the point and click power that this champion can provide. So I'm looking to see if this Annie is able to find some of these advantages in the mid lane, but at the same time is a champion that can be very vulnerable to these ganks that can come out from Bard and J4 with setup that Ari can provide through Flash Charm and the Flash CC from these other champions. We will see Colin B will have to play a little carefully in this game to come out of this laning phase unscathed.
Yeah, for sure. Just being able to delete stuff, it looks like Unleashed is just going to be going for a pick style comp. If they can get some nice vision and a good setup, they can be able to chunk out or even just straight out remove some of these and probably use a number advantage like we were seeing when they were behind. If they get ahead and are able to utilize that, that's going to be very difficult to walk in, try and get those vision that you might need. And then you can probably secure some objectives with being able to walk into a night vision area. If you have no vision as Ari, you're kind of vulnerable. You can just be turned on and die, and that's kind of dangerous to be going into. So Unleashed might be going for a objective style victory here rather than maybe a more scaling side. While Apex is going to be utilizing all of that movement we saw before, using that wave control, trying to set up some timers and get a numbers advantage there and win these fights and get that gold leads that's just so out of control that Unleashed won't be able to deal with it.
Yeah, for sure. And another thing that I think will be interesting is to see what the top and jungle matchups are going to end up being like. Olaf and Wukong, these are both champions that theoretically can flex either top lane or into the jungle. So Unleashed does get their option to pick how they want these matchups to shake out, which champion they think will end up being more advantageous to the Camille here. So I'm a little curious to see which one of these two they end up picking. And speaking of wave clear earlier, we do have a plethora of that on Unleashed. I mean, Sivir is one of the premier champions in terms of clearing waves throughout the game, can either be a part of very potent pushes or stall pushes by the enemy team. And Ezreal, Camille, Ahri, these are champions that aren't the greatest at taking out waves, especially if they get pressured in, say, like a Baron situation or something like that. Camille certainly can become a very potent threat in the side lane, like what we saw from Apex in the first game. But if Unleashed is able to get rolling, if they are able to start pressuring these towers with pushes, it could be a little difficult for Apex to try and find a response.
Yeah, it certainly could be difficult, especially being Olaf is so good at fighting early on. If Camille's not able to get online, that's going to be a lot of damage to have to deal with, where he's just going to be able to walk in, hit pretty hard. His damage isn't going to be too mixed, so he's not going to be able to juke out Camille's shield that they have built into the passive for magic or AD. It's probably just going to be with all that AD damage lined up. I don't think he has any magic damage within his kit at all.
No, certainly not. It is a lot of physical damage coming through with autos and axes, and that is what that champion is looking to do. And it does look like most likely it will be Belinda's taking this Olaf into the top lane, opting into that matchup against Camille. Certainly, as you mentioned, a strong early game champion. Camille, not the strongest as the games are starting out, but can scale to be a terror. So we'll see if the Camille is able to hold on successfully and find that win condition.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they're able to find these win conditions into the mid and late game. For the time being, I think we're going to go into commercial break as we've kind of set the tempo for game two, and we'll see you on the Rift in just a moment. go.
Welcome back to game 3 between Apex and Unleashed. So sorry about game 2. We had some troubles with the spectate bug and we're not able to bring you that gameplay. But here we are with game 3. Unleashed was able to turn it back in that second game and take a victory, bring us to this 1-1 scenario. And it seems like their strategy was fairly effective, as we already see some of these bans coming out against the picks we saw in game 2. Sivir taken off the table, Leona taken off the table, Unleashed still with some of these respect bans. Xayah is still going to be denied, Maokai and Vi, two of the premier junglers in the current meta, not going to be available for this B1 pick.
Yeah, with all these champions banned here, we're probably going to be seeing something new to be prio picked here. And the blue side from Apex will have to see what they feel is most important, what's going to close out a game 3 to get back with a 2-1 and hopefully close this game out on their side. And it's going to be possibly an Olaf here, which we saw last game as a opener. Something I haven't seen a whole lot of, but it seems to be fairly effective.
Yeah, Olaf, the B1 choice for Unleashed in game 2, and now the B1 choice for Apex in game 3. I'm going to assume that it did a great work in that previous game. That Ragnarok certainly can bring a lot of value, is going to be able to immune the Bard ultimate, as well as the Ari catch potential, Camille stun, all sorts of things that Apex could have thrown at Unleashed in that last game, and we'll see what it might be able to do in this game. Graves and Ezreal going to be the picks for Unleashed in this final game. It is going to be Gadiro piloting the Ezreal this time around instead of Apex Parry, and the response is going to be Sejuani, another one of the power picks in the jungle on this current patch, and pairing well with the melee pick they already have secured in the top lane.
Yeah, they scale off of each other pretty well, being from the forward together. A lot of CC coming up here and denying some of that. There's going to be plenty of kiting on the side of Unleashed with Ezreal and Graves, but Olaf is slow, and Sejuani being able to dash in and get some CC to be followed up certainly will help as well. And Caitlyn is going to be able to do a little bit of poking and stay behind minions. Ezreal has to hit you directly if there's a caster in the way. You're not going to be getting hit, and with Caitlyn's range advantage, you're able to get some of that poke over there. It should be a fairly exciting lane to see.
Yeah, certainly someone that can be very dominant in this bot lane early game. And, with Sivir off the table, you don't have the pushing power of that champion. But Caitlyn certainly is a very strong pusher herself. Absolutely loves to get those waves going, start taking all of your tower plates, all of your team's tower plates. And it's going to be Jax as the response here. So already we're seeing a fair bit of mobility over on the Unleashed team. Ezreal, not necessarily a champion that is a premier tank killer into the very strong and beefy Olaf and Sejuani frontline, but Jax is certainly a pick that can hold down that side lane very well and offer a lot of team fight threat. A very strong top laner that has been showing a lot of presence in these last few patches as we start moving into the second round of picks.
Yeah, there's going to be plenty of scaling here with Jax trying to stop some of those autos where Olaf is going to be running you down, and being able to just jump out of the way or even just go for a stun there is going to be able to disengage some of that. So we're probably going to be seeing a lot of top lane action with how volatile those lanes are going to be, especially with Olaf's early game. And it looks like the Blitzcrank ban is going to be coming again. No hooks here today. Maybe we'll see a Thresh as a backup, or maybe we'll see another hook champion being Leo was banned as well. It seems to be Troppus' premier form of being a support.
Yeah, I am a little bit surprised that the Amumu and Blitzcrank are the choices to be taken off the table. We definitely did see a lot of value coming out from the Blitzcrank in that game 1, but into champions like Olaf and Sejuani, these are certainly not champs that are that afraid to get hooked or get CC'd. Meanwhile, Ashe taken away as an option for the Caitlyn pairing. I definitely do like to see that. That lane can certainly be very oppressive, and Ash just offering so much great team wide utility with the pick potential from the arrow as well as the hawk shot being able to offer these map hacks. A little surprised to see the Karma taken away as well, one of the best pairings with Ezreal in this bottom lane, but understandable that you want to deny some move speed from the Olaf, who does love to have those enchanters. And it looks like, interestingly enough, it is going to be a Rel Braum matchup here in the bottom lane. In particular, the Rel opted into from the Braum, who usually does like to be on the opposite side of these engaging melee supports, as he's one of the best wardens at turning around these kinds of engages. So we'll see what kind of value the Rel can offer here in this final game.
Yeah, Rel can be kind of potent. A lot of roams like we were seeing in game one, where you can just kind of rotate, set up some plays, and it's going to be another melee and has an auto reset, I believe, with their Q to help with Sejuani should they go in and they land some of that CC stacking to go with their. Yeah, I don't blame the Ashe to be banned at all. I've seen vision scores of upwards to 4 per minute, over 100 sitting at like 28 minutes, which is astonishing. A very potent pick, a certain ban to be warranted on either team.
Yeah, and it looks like it's going to be Syndra to round out the Unleashed team comp. This was a pick that was denied from Columbi in the previous game, but will come out in this final game as the final choice of their team comp. The Victor Syndra laying something that can potentially be very volatile if one or two of these Scatter the Weeks end up landing on the victor. It can be bad news for this mid lane pick indeed. Fortunately, Graves not a champion that offers the strongest gank presence, certainly not something like a J4 or a Zac that can chain off as effectively off of the Syndra CC, but still someone that can offer a lot of damage going into the later phases of the game. So really here, I'm looking to see whether the members of Unleashed, particularly their carries, can navigate the extremely strong front line that Apex is bring here, or whether this very traditional Apex team comp, just a lot of beef in the front, two strong carries in the back, are going to bring home this game 3.
A very traditional front to back side coming from Apex, a very traditional play style, and well, oh, there we go. And we'll have to see how that comes into fruition into the mid and late game. You know, Caitlyn might be able to get some of these early tower plates, and Olaf being as strong as he is early, there's going to be probably a push and pull to this map where strong side's going to come in, they're going to try and push, get some pressure, and then
I'll
once
beat it
the
out of you.
jungler is caught on the other side, they might try
I
and yin
must
and
not
yang,
fall.
move things over and be strong in the bot side, kind of go back and forth and create some pressure that way, and kind of trying to split the ends of Unleashed here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think coming out of this final draft, it does seem like Apex has a team comp that is a little bit easier to execute on. I mean, you have very clear team fighting conditions where you want to be landing the Sejuani Rel CC combos onto the primary carries of Unleashed. You have a great backline damage with relative safety from the Caitlyn and Victor. On the other side, you have a little bit higher of a threshold. I mean, sure, you have Jax as a side lane win condition, you have Syndra with the pick potential, you have Braum to act as a warden, but doesn't look like they have the strongest follow-up opportunities on the Syndra picks, and Jax could potentially have a bit of trouble navigating these team fights into such a heavy layering of CC and frontline, but of course it is going to be up to these players to execute, so we'll see how they can round out and make these team comps work once we get onto the Rift.
Yeah, for sure. I think we'll cut into a commercial break for now, try and get things set up, make sure game 3 is super smooth. So we'll see you on the Rift shortly, folks.
May you die with your eyes closed.
Welcome back, everybody, for Game 3 of Unleashed versus Apex. This is the game to determine the series for both teams. We had Apex coming in with an absolutely dominating Game 1, but Unleashed were able to turn it around in Game 2, looking now for the reverse sweep. Apex, of course, looking for their 2-1 victory as well. And looking across at both teams, we already see a few pretty interesting rune and summoner spell choices. We have Apex Parry even coming in with the Ghost Caitlyn to start off on this game, aiming for a bit more chasing and mobility potential in the team fights. And Spy coming here on the route, taking the Glacial Augment, making sure that anyone she hits is going to be locked down. Meanwhile, on the opposite side, we see a Gadiro on Ezreal here with PTA as the keystone of choice. So is going to scale a little bit less well than Conqueror in some of these extended team fights, especially against this very strong front line, but does give them very potent laning opportunities, especially if they are going to use that to proc the Braum stun.
Yeah, as well. Once you go in, you're not going to be able to move as much. So Glacial Augment lets you still stick onto some of those targets, or reduce some of that burst damage we might be seeing off of Godrio's Ezreal. And Caitlyn with Ghost is surprisingly good. I see it a lot with XFS and Saber, a Grandmaster Caitlyn one trick. Who does a little bit more than that, but still plays Caitlyn quite a bit, and Ghost is pretty potent. It's kind of like having a Bork as a summoner spell where you're able to just run people down and do a lot of damage and get those headshots that you need to end the game.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The chasing potential, even in lane and afterwards, can be very strong indeed. And my eyes on this early game are going to be to see how Spy navigates this lane, because trying to play into Braum Ezreal here, as we can already see, is a tough ask, taking almost half of their hit points there on an initial engage, even though they were able to find the CC, but they were looking for the re-engage, does get the ignite down, but Gondero wants to trade it back. One more auto for the stun, and PTA proc does get it, flashes to the side and loses vision in the bush, so that might be the turnaround they need. Ezreal does get first blood, but a gank there in the top side as well. 1-for-1 trade in the bot lane. Many summoners burned. Wonder Z able to get an early gank off onto the top side, get this Olaf rolling.
Yeah, a lot of action, like I was saying, on both the top and bot, trying to play for those strong sides. Perhaps I should hold.
Yeah, Hydralisk looking for a follow gank on the bot side to trade back in. Auto needs 2 more to finish off Parry, is unable to do so, but does secure the flash away from the Caitlyn. Caitlyn did not have to use that in that early game bot lane 2v2, and does save themselves as a result from that jungle gank.
Yeah, the red burn slow not being enough to get it there. Of course, Apex Parry played that very well. With the wave pushing in, it doesn't matter if they live or die. They're going to get a bounce back and then able to get some of that return stuff there. Meanwhile, Godrio is going to be a little bit further behind in farm. Actually, no, he's going to be a little bit more fine here with the wave being froze because Trappist was alive. Braum's able to take some of this early abuse because he has one of the highest base regenerative stats in the game. So him taking some of those pokes and just being a very good warden here is very good, especially with his keystone Guardian.
Yeah, absolutely. And after all of this action in the bot lane, we do see here support on Braum still has the ignite available. So the next all in is going to be more difficult for Spy and Parry should they try and attempt it, at least until that ignite comes back up. Is a short cooldown summoner, so maybe they'll find the next engage in time. Spy looking for a little bit spicy here onto Gaudero, but Gaudero does get the shift and support arrives in time. One more auto to proc the Braum stun, does not get it, and Caitlyn here stacking up the lethal tempo is going to get a lot of value here on the all-in. The ignite is burned. One more hit available. The last tick of the ignite does pick up Spy there. Wonder Z tries to turn it back around on the counter gank, but is just a little bit too late to try and save their support. Spy going down for the second time. The difficulties of route in this lane are showing themselves. Ooh, in the top lane, another engagement dunk flashing over to pick up the dropped axe onto the side there, surprising both me and Valindus, it seems like. Getting the 2-0 lead on this Olaf is a great look on this top lane. A great state here. Level 6 already hitting Ragnarok state. Potentially looking to blow open top lane again in this game 3 as we saw in the first game.
Yeah, Olaf's early game is very potent.
Yeah, small game coming over from a Wonder Z, unable to find it though from the shift of Gaudiero going to take them to safety. But yes, a potent early game as we saw from those top lane trades.
Yeah, the thing about Olaf is you're ahead until you're not. Once you start slipping, this scaling Jack on Welland is going to be being able to split push, do a lot of team fights. He's not going to be able to block some of these axes being thrown at him, but when they're being swung, it'll be good.
Yeah, absolutely. But if the Olaf does not fall behind, then they certainly can be a big threat. We'll end up getting some nice trades back onto Dunk here as the wave is crashing. And both mid laners also trading very aggressively into each other. Colin B getting caught by the very tail end of the CC from Victor there on the gravity field, and after dropping the Chaos Storm, is forced to expend the flash. Now Hydralisk waiting patiently on the sidelines, trying to make a gank work, but Colin B so low here, and Vongola still having the flash available does mean that it is unlikely to be successful. We even have Apex Spy coming here on the sidelines, maybe trying for a flank or a dive, but it looks like Colin B, with the presence of their jungler, is able to execute a safe base back wave is going to be secured. They are going to be able to return to lane none the more harmed.
Yeah, Colby B is really favored with some of these trades if they're able to initiate it because of First Strike. They're already up around 100 or so gold in this lane. And that's going to help enable stuff, especially with how these backs have lined up. Neither of them having TP ups. The wave management and mana management is going to be very important for the middle lane, as we kind of saw in game 1.
Yeah, speaking of wave management, though, there is a support, a wave trying to be forced in by support and Gondero, but a 3-man collapse is going to go on to support, getting hit by the trap. Apex Spy getting very low. One more Astral Cube will do it, but there is Apex Wonder hitting the level 6, shooting that icy bola straight into the face of Gondero, is going to be taken down. 2 kills going down on the bottom lane. They had the advantage early on initially, but just stayed a little bit too long on that wave push. The rest of Apex were able to collapse in and get the double trade. Now Caitlyn 2-0-1, looking really nice on this bottom lane. Hydra
Yeah.
was trying to make a little bit more work in the mid lane, but looks like Mongola is likely going to be able to just run out, even using the Chaos Storm to turn it right back around. Hydralisk forced to disengage, but Colin B there with the nice scatter of the week, maybe trying to look for a continuation there. Hydralisk going to go down to one more laser plus Q auto combo. Mongola holding their ground. Wonder Z on the sidelines ready to support. There is Spy as well on the side, so looks like that will be the end of the play for now.
Yeah, the vision line when you push up is super important. So waves end up giving you vision, but wards do that as well. Jenny's favorite button, the number 4 button here, not in this game, and we're not seeing it as much.
Yeah, and speaking of wards, there is not one in the top lane to spot another roam coming. This was the way we saw Apex get so much of their leads in the first game. Just having these consistent team movements, finding windows to find advantages across the map. But now we see Unleashed wanting to respond on the bot side with a dive onto Perry, but Gardero steps on the trap, and Perry gets the 1v2 outplay. All of the summoners burned from support there does get out with their life, but Gardero does not get out with theirs. Caitlyn getting another great pickup on this bot lane. Unleashed were so eager to try and find the trade there after the top lane play, but unable to get the execution off of some excellent trap placement from Perry.
Yeah, the vision behind tower is very hard to see with the Caitlyn trap. I've certainly gotten several people with that trick in the book before. And missing that skill shot with the ultimate on Ezreal means that no return kill is going to be happening.
Yeah, Ezreal might have missed the skill shot, but Wonder Z does not. The QR lands true, and that does mean Colin B is going to fall. As a result, another kill funneled over to the side of Apex. Now, Herald dropped is going to get the crash here, going to be probably 3 plates going down here on this mid lane tower, unless Hydralisk has something to say about it. Vongola and Wonder Z taking a few tower shots, but that probably is going to be all they're going to take.
Oh,
Chaos Storm going down, but the Graves ultimate there, collateral damage, securing the kill in conjunction with the tower shot. Vongola playing a little bit there on the edge. Hydralisk living, but Vongola falling.
yeah, this early tempo being created by Apex has already gotten them a 2,500 gold lead, and we saw what happened in game one when they had a gold lead this fast, with the score being 8-3. Not only are we getting a lot of kills, but we have a lot of farm leads. We have one in top, we have one in mid, technically, although it's pretty even. And that's going to help close things out. Of course, this gold has been kind of stabilized with the jungle being able to farm just a little bit more on the side of Unleashed with Hydralisk's Grave. Great power farmer. And Ezreal, despite dying as the number of times he has, is still up some farm, being able to push.
Yeah, and Dunk is looking to blow open this top lane even more. Flash traded for Flash, but Flash and Ghost in conjunction with Ragnarok on the Olaf here. This Ravenous Hydra completed already at 10 minutes is going to make the advantage just simply too much. Jack's usually a champion that favors these kinds of longer trades, but Olaf is going to shut that right down. Unleash is looking to trade at least back onto this dragon, where they have a bit more of an even team-to-team lead here. Wonder Z is away there. So it is going to be at least Inferno Drake going over to the side of Unleashed, denying that 2 Drake stack, maybe delaying that Soul Win Con for a little bit longer. A good pickup off that timing.
Yeah, and it's also going to help with some of this damage deficit. They're not having as many items on, but this dragon is going to give them a little bit more damage, about 4%. They missed.
Yeah, Wonder Z with another Q ultimate look off the bush, and they do miss indeed. Support stepping into another trap. Things traded on both sides, but support stepping into a third trap does use the ultimate to disengage. Their ace in the hole is available, but Gaudiero will be available to block that. A lot of scuffles going on in the bot lane, but ultimately both sides staying alive.
Yeah, these cross map plays is exactly what you want to be seeing when you're behind, trying to get things stabilized on the sides where you're strong. Understand that you're able to make a map play on the other end where things are going on, and trying to get a lead there. You know, Dragon is a pretty good win con at this point in the game with how League is patched currently. It's not the only win con. There are other ways to win the game, of course, but it is certainly a strong one at that.
Yeah, absolutely. But right now, what is a win con certainly for Apex are the solo laners, both top and mid, pushing their advantage very heavily. 4 plates going down here onto the mid lane, 3 plates, as well as 4 kills going to the top lane. But Colin B does not care about that advantage, just full combos onto the Syndra. Those Dark Spheres going straight into the back of Mongola, trading back some much needed gold here in the mid lane. The Scatter the Weak also denying the engage from Apex Spy. Olaf roaming down to try and find a bit more advantage, unable to do so. But here comes Wonder Z engaging onto Gaudiero. The Sprom is going to try and keep them alive, but the shield is facing the wrong way. The CC chain is good. Gaudiero is going to be falling. Support next in their sights. The rest of the team too far away to offer support. Wonder Z with a nice Architect charge. They're getting the knockup onto the Brahma. Double kill once again, fed over to the Caitlyn. The top lane and the bot lane here finding very strong gold advantages over their counterparts.
Yeah, Colin B balling in the mid lane, trying to get some of this poke, get some of this extra gold to really set up some of these plays. But unfortunately for Unleashed, Apex already has a pretty good gold lead, and with how fluid they're able to move between these plays, you know, it didn't work out mid, they moved bot, set up a good play. Tropis didn't have the correct shielding there to try and stop it from happening, and they're able to get an execute, get a kill here. There's going to be no more plates for them to take, but first tower could be on the line here with mid, and that's a very important one to be having to try and, you know, get some lane pressure and maybe get some of this farm, try and stop Hydros from being able to farm and try and get back into this game. That way there's going to be no breathing room once this lead starts to fully envelop here, sitting at about 3,000 to 4,000 gold at 15-ish minutes, you know, 14:40 right now. And we tried to see Godriel try and stop the Caitlyn back on parry and ultimately missed with his ultimate.
Yeah, it is going to be Walinda's aggressed on here. Once again, the Olaf Ghost available. The Sejuani OT is going to go wide. Dunk tanking the tower here, but is happy to do so. One more shot would take him down, but one more shot will not be landing as the aggro is traded expertly onto Wonder Z. Walinda's absolutely getting bullied here in the top lane. And this really has been a bit of the story of this game. Apex successfully punishing with good movements, good gank timings from Wonder Z here, finding some of these overextensions on the side of Unleashed and making sure that they go down for it. But Unleashed trying to make their own play, but Spy instead is going to drag Columby straight into tower. The Ezreal ult is going to swing wide, does not catch Spy there on the side, and Unleashed with the 4-man looking onto the bot side, but unable to find it. It is the solo laners of Apex getting even more time with these towers for free. A failed play on the bot side, a stronger advantage going over. Walinda's trying to find it onto Mongola, but the gravity field is going to shut down any hopes of that happening. Dragon spawning in 45 seconds. Maybe there will be a chance of a contest coming here. Walinda still trying to find a continuation of the play. It is going to be Mongola getting caught out by the very edge of the stun. Valindis finally finding a kill back. This Jax bullying this immobile Victor. A good pickup there, but it is the top inner tower getting aggressed on. In exchange, Wonder Z trying to find a base timer for the Jax, but unable to get the finish there. Hydralisk ready to offer some support to their teammate.
Yeah, he can't really fight drunk at this point in the game. Neither can Cohen B. Just kind of getting murdered there, all in. A fully stacked Ravenous Hydra does a lot of damage at this stage in the game, and with mid lane being gone, this is probably going to be a Drake on the side of Apex, especially with the vision and presence that they have already showing up. It's going to be hard for them to go in with a gold deficit.
Yeah, it is going to be a 3v3 contest here for the moment. So Unleashed are going to temporarily force Apex off of the objective, but Victor is here on the side. Olaf is walking down, does have 2,000 unspent gold on both the top and jungle of Apex, and Melendez is going to try and catch out Perry there, but here comes Dunk trying to find the engagement, is forced to flash away from the stun of Valindis because Ragnarok is not available. A nice Scatter of the Week is going to find its way onto Perry, but an even nicer Gale Force is going to make sure that they stay safe. Hydralisk getting some damage on the side of the bush onto Spy, but here comes the bulk of the team fight. Spy is in there, a huge gravity field, catches 3, and it is going to be the members of Unleashed starting to fall there. Colin B does at least get an 800 gold shutdown trading back onto the Caitlyn, but the rest of the members are caught and running for their lives. A double kill going over to Mongola. 4 members falling onto the side of Unleashed. What make that 5 as Wonder Z catches down the final 3 autos onto Godero there. The ace completed for Apex. That's going to be the Dragon pickup. 5 kills picked up and a 7,000 goal lead established at 18 minutes.
Yeah, that flank there really setting up the play, trying to get things over there. Yeah, Unleashed did a good job trying to push things back and reestablish stuff, but because they weren't able to take things as fast as they were able to be collapsed on, and even though some of that gold hadn't been spent, the damage has kind of already been done with how this gold lead is. And with Rift Herald pushing in the bot lane, that you're going to be kind of bare over there with almost your inhib tower falling, and Trappist having to hold that wave so it doesn't fall, just so the enemy team could take this dragon and extend it over to a 6,600 gold lead. And all of this money is going to be able to spend back because we have this reset timer, and because of this, and these waves are going to be pushing in. They're going to be buffed because of the tower deficit and the level deficit that you're facing on the side of Unleashed, making things a little bit harder. And with Caitlyn and Victor, you can siege just a little bit, and you don't quite have the wave clear you want on the side of Unleashed with only really Syndra here.
Yeah, and it looked like a potentially hopeful fight there at the start for Unleashed. We did have them trying to force on isolated members before reinforcements came in as best as they could, but hold that thought as Hydralisk is engaged on by Spy. Dunk is ready there to dunk on the members of Unleashed from the other side. Walinda's now caught there, no hope of escape, does use the counter strike. Oh, actually, Hydralisk giving them a nice leap strike opportunity to jump jump out there. So they will live for the moment, but Dunk is on a tear, just wants to own this entire topside jungle of Unleashed there. Scatter the Weak does hold onto two. Vanilla just looking to extend that with the CC chain. It is Spy getting shut down by the unleashed power of Syndra there. Colin B able to get another pickup, but the red buff invade is still going to go over to the side of Apex. One kill traded there, the support falling down. So maybe some of these shutdowns is going to get a little bit of hope. Hydralisk looking for a bit more poke, but supporting members are ready to offer their aid. Wonder Z forced to charge out, trying to disengage the fight. Olaf tossing a few more axes to secure their runaway. The fight is going to be over. One kill more over to Unleashed.
Yeah, a lot of these picks have been able to be happening because of Colin B's ultimate, and they're able to get all the damage in the last two fights. That's what's been getting the victory.
Yeah, and Dunk actually does not want this fight to be over, but instead it is another shutdown going over to Colin B. Dunk hiding there in the bush for so long, trying to find a pick, but there were enough members there to turn the damage on. Vongola flashing on, trying to find the trade kill, and it's going to be Wonder Z's ultimate that is going to ultimately pick it up, and here comes Spy. Another devastating charge coming in from the Rel. They're slamming down onto the members of Unleashed for that pickup. It is only two members standing for Unleashed, four members standing for Apex. They're going to turn on to the Baron. No TP available for the Olaf, but they are going to be able to join in 10 seconds. Gardiro may be looking for some kind of miracle over the wall. The ace in the hole is going to chunk him down to very, very low health. The Sejuani ultimate not available over the wall here. Valenda's trying to force them off of the Baron at least, but it's going to be all five members of Apex available at this objective very soon. Apex Spy coming here with the Hex Flash ultimate. Gardero shifts out of the CC chain, and they're trying to turn it back onto Spy. Vongola falling so low. Baron still spitting out a bit of damage. Spy, one hit from death, is going to go down to the Ignite, and now it is going to be Dunk in the front line, dunking down with Linda's. The Unleashed power not going to be enough to finish off the Olaf here, but at least the Baron disengage is forced off. True Shot Barrage not available to pick off these remaining few health bars on the side of Apex. The kills are traded across the map, but the Baron is stopped for now.
Yeah, the Baron resistance shred really helping out there, not to mention Colin B's TP, able to flank and get some of these picks and get a lot of this shutdown gold, already having a death cap, putting in a lot of damage, and removing these stacks on Dunk.
Yeah, and Dunk is here ready to claim ownership once more. Just does not want Unleashed to be able to do anything in this top jungle. It feels like it has been almost a 3-minute continuous invade here from the Olaf. Absolutely unafraid to use their humongous gold advantage. A quarter of the gold on their entire team here on this top laner. Almost 4,000 gold up against their lane opponent. Just an absolute terror wherever he chooses to walk, making sure that Unleashed are unable to pick up any additional resources.
Yeah, coming in here like an all-star, the plays don't stop coming and they don't stop coming.
No, they
These plays
don't.
have just been bleeding into each other, game after game, fight after fight. It felt like the last dragon fight has bled in, and the next one is already spawning in for the fourth Drake in the game.
Yeah, and Ezreal firing off a early True Shot Barrage. The ace in the hole actually not blocked by support there. The shield is a little bit off angle once again. Now all five members assembling for this Dragon Soul Point, spawning in just 10 seconds. It is a Cloud Drake, maybe not the most valuable, but looks like Unleashed is wanting to make their stand there. A trap line is starting to get established by Caitlyn on the edge of this top approach here, but there is still a gap left, and so Unleashed will be able to move in, claim some space temporarily, but you bet Apex is looking for an opportunity to pounce. When will the engage come? Spy has been finding good ones all game, might be able to find the securing one for this team fight. Looks like Apex is undecided, maybe looking to threaten both the Dragon and the mid lane push at the same time. It's just going to be Hydralisk holding there on the flank. One axe lands, a second axe close by. Colin B, Scatter the Weak on the sidelines is not going to land. Both teams drawing battle lines in almost parallel fashion. Wonder Z hiding in the bush, maybe looking for some kind of engage, but too far away from their team to make it happen. All goes quiet for just a moment until Scatter the Weak lands on Spy. That's some great damage going in. The Braum Q is going to land. The Ezreal ulti as well, and Walindus there with the enhanced auto attack is going to take down the support on the side of Apex, is going to stop Dunks' push in the top lane as well. Team threatened to move across there. One pickup going to Unleashed. Will there be more? Teams reassembling. Another moment of quiet as they collapse back down towards the objective.
A lot of these Yordle traps were being utilized by Perry to try and zone them off, but with them all being down right now, having to recharge from all of these plays, it looks like Unleash is going to be like the second Drake, being able to walk faster to these minion waves, catch them, and maybe stop some of this tempo. Not to mention, there are some slows on the enemy team here that it's going to be slightly mitigated because of the benefits you get from this dragon.
Yeah, and it looks like Apex make the proactive call to just give up a Drake in exchange for trades on the opposite side of the map. And it is Unleashed getting the Drake and getting the pick, but still advantage over to Apex. You trade over the top lane inner tower, 600 gold going over there, and you start up the Baron. Syndra is starting to hurt a little bit here. Wonder Z getting surprisingly low to the Baron spit, so it is going to be the disengaged found. So it is just the tower going down for the kill in the dragon. But if you're Apex, you're absolutely happy to give over this second Cloud Drake for more map pressure, more income there on your solo laners. Still holding steady at a 7,500 gold advantage here at just 25 minutes. So advantage still decisively going over to Apex's side, but Unleashed still finding a couple good plays here and there. The Syndra is starting to scale up. The death cap completed here, 2 items, but here comes Wonder Z, a nice QR once again finding their way straight to the heart of Galdero. Spy is looking for the rest of the engage, and Syndra colon B, this crucial player, has been picked immediately. Support next to go down. Hydralisk fighting Vongola for his life there. Vongola has got the damage. Q auto takes down the Grave, dominating now here on the map. 4 members of Unleashed falling. Apex turns onto the Baron.
Yeah, this is probably going to be the Baron to follow with. This gold advantage kind of means you can say, hey, I want to fight right now. I've got the numbers advantage. We'll probably just end up winning here. I have to give some kudos, though, to Unleashed. Even though it's a 7,000 gold lead, it doesn't really feel like it. They've been able to get some return pressure, push things back. Of course, it's not going to be looking like it right now at this moment with the Baron being down. But up until these last few moments, these last few minutes have been played very well behind. They're still fighting, trying to make sure they can take the second game.
Yeah, well, Linda's is trying to fight here, but in a 1v3 engage on 40% HP, that's not going to work. They're trying to support the Syndra flank, but just goes in too early. Spy is going to be sacrificed for the rest of the team to get out there, but Syndra here, colon B, is going to be collapsed on by the remaining members of Apex, and a chance of escape is going to be slim. Now walking directly into the enemy jungle is going to run into Dunk on the Olaf here, trying to maybe trade back on Perry, but Perry knows what their ambitions are, stays plenty safe. A nice stylish combination of abilities is going to put the Caitlyn back onto a killing spree. Baron still on 4 members, a push still possible. Syndra's life traded for Spies.
Yeah, Colin is kind of an important territory having that. They're doing a good job trying to weed, but with all the range and mobility that Apex has, they weren't able to get away from here, and with them being gone, that's a lot of their weight clear.
Yeah, for sure. Ezreal still trying to ward off these super minions the best that they can. 1 inhibitor in the mid lane down already. It's going to be the other 2 inhibitors in the side of Apex next. Taking some time to get back map control. Their team is a little spread out right now, so trying to reclaim what sectors they can. Looks like Walindus is going to be the next in their sights. Wonder Z starting off the engage. We do have Perry and Vongola running in behind to try and offer follow-up damage, but Syndra is going to arrive in time, ward off the chances. Meanwhile, top lane tower under siege here. Dunk and Spy looking to make it happen. Maybe Spy is looking for another one of those engages, but looks like it is Dunk instead, getting aggressed on by 4 members for the moment. Ragnarok does go out, CC a mute, and look at that healing and damage coming out. Spy offers the CC, and now it is going to be Walindus trying to be the next one cut down by Olaf. Does do so. Spy is not going to be traded back. Dunk looking to potentially continue the tower dive, but Ragnarok is going to expire, and so will that fight. Spy getting another quick CC off, and Dunk absolutely melting Gadero there on the sideline. Hydralisk, the last standing member, but is not going to be standing for long. Dunk here on a double kill. Another series of incredible plays coming out from this top laner, and it is the members of Unleashed disconnecting now as Game 3 comfortably goes over to Apex. They claimed Game 1 in strong, convincing fashion. Game 3 will go the same way. It's unfortunate we didn't get to see Unleashed deliver their winning blow in Game 2, but that is the series going over to Apex.
Yeah, Darius is going to have to step down. It looks like there's a new Dunk Master called Dunk, able to slam down the enemy top laner and use this lead to close out the game. Certainly one of the stronger picks in the side of Apex. Of course, Wonder Z setting up a lot of plays there as well. We kind of got to give Colin B some credit as the ace probably for this series. Very well played by both teams. Was very fun to watch and cast.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of action across the Rift was certainly a delight to be here. Congratulations for Apex closing out games 1 and 3 in a really commanding fashion. Great team movements across the map, and Dunk absolutely running away with their side lane advantage. Colin B trying their best, finding some great picks in the mid game, but ultimately it was not enough. The gold advantage across the rest of the map was just too strong. Congrats to their team play. Congrats on this victory as we continue playoffs in the future.
Yeah, this is week 2. They should be moving into week 3 as the winners for this matchup. Good luck to both teams that are still in it. I believe Unleashed is still in the series, but I could be wrong here. I haven't taken too big of a look.
Yeah, potentially a double elimination bracket certainly can provide a lot of opportunities for these teams. I believe in last season, it was actually Unleashed going down early on in the elimination series, but coming back from losers bracket to take the victory ultimately. So, and winning actually, I believe, their entire league. So maybe some kind of comeback is possible for them this time around too. They did have that game 2 victory under their belt. So best of luck certainly for both of these teams moving forward. And thank you all for joining us tonight. We're so sorry about the technical issues, but we hope that you were as entertained as we were watching some of this great League of Legends play on the Rift.
Yeah, it's been great casting with you all, Potato. We'll see you next time on the Rift. Take care, everyone.
Yeah, a pleasure, and have a good night.